Starfarers, stowaways, and scallywags of the Reach, welcome back to the grand stage of Wildgate 101. Today we're talking about the Helmsman, the most essential role on any ship. Because let's face it, without a steady hand at the wheel, your glorious galleon is just an expensive raft. By the end of this guide, you'll know exactly how to steer, defend, and command your vessel like the ringleader of chaos you were born to be. Your job isn't just driving as the helmsman, it goes beyond that. Not only is it your job to make sure that your ship is always in position, that your teammates have cannon angle, and that you're giving good callouts, but it's also your job to stay on the ship during POIs and continue scanning for your surroundings, looking for enemies and other POIs, and making sure that your team has an awareness of its surroundings. You are basically the captain of the ship. You are giving callouts, you are the most aware of most situations. Helmsman goes beyond just driving the ship. Let's talk about which prospectors make the best helmsman. In my personal opinion, I think the two best helmsmen are going to be Sal and Moffs. Sal has the recyclability and also double repair on her repair tool. Her repair tool bounces to a second location when she is repairing, so she has the best repairing in the game. She has no headshot multiplier, so you can't be shot in the back as easily. And she also has the recyclability, allowing you to get Sal inventions, Sal bombs, and re-roll all of the hard points and weapons that you acquire in the game. Moffs can work as a great helmsman because with the ability for teleport reload to basically make Moffs invisible at all times, it's nearly impossible to track you down on the ship. You can just kind of run around, and when somebody boards, just teleport, turn invis, and then just chase them down and punch them in the back. Other potential options are going to be Kay. Her 10-meter reach and her teleport is kind of nice, especially on bigger ships. She can get around the ship pretty quickly and doesn't have to interact at a close range in the same way. And then Samo is also a decent helmsman. He has wall hacks up to 20 meters on his own ship, as well as also getting a full health regen when he eliminates a prospector that is boarding. The bottom line is picking the right prospector makes Helm become a lot smoother. Make sure you tune in next time where we cover the boarder, the most daring role on any crew. Now let's talk loadout. Starting with guns, I would highly recommend as your helmsman, you are going to want a close range and a long range weapon. You are going to need to do a little bit of border defense from the exterior of your ship, as well as also a bit of interior defense. This looks like having a short range weapon, which means you're most likely going to be picking the sonic boom or the sidelong. You might potentially swap that out and choose something like the double whammy or the painter if you're looking for more PvE damage, or maybe you want more ship damage on top of that. As for long range weapons, I would highly recommend probably picking the MK2 or the beam rifle. I personally prefer the beam rifle. There's nothing better than the beam rifle for taking out boarders in space before they reach your ship. Going on to gadgets. As for the helm, you want stuff that is going to help you defend your ship and repair. So if you're playing Sal, you probably don't need repair drone since you have the double repair from Sal. But generally the list of gadgets that I would recommend for helm are going to be repair drone, sensor trap, foam canister, attack drone, and shield wall. These are going to be some of your best defensive items. Some other options that you could potentially throw in there are going to be things like Thunder Dash to get around your ship a little bit quicker, or potentially something a little bit more on the aggressive defensive side, like a rock, or potentially maybe blast cans or impact cans. Again, you can be pretty flexible with this, but I would highly recommend having one or two, so one or both of your equipment slots be taken up by defensive items. For helmsman, a couple good specific examples are, for instance, if someone breaks your helm's glass, you can throw up a shield wall in front of you to block a couple shots so you don't die instantly. You can also throw down a repair drone if somebody is trying to break your helm, and 2 drill charges won't ever be able to break through because it gets repaired in between the 2 drill charge attacks. Some other options that are really good, foam canisters are great because not only do they put out a large area of fire, but they also do 30 damage and then 10 tick damage per second, and also slow the enemy by 30%. If you conjunct this with a sensor trap, if you, for instance, trap a Moff in a sensor trap, the sensor trap does 30 damage, marks him through walls. You can then take a foam canister, throw a foam canister on the Moffs that is trapped in said trap. They're trapped for 4 seconds. The foam canister does an initial 30 and then 10 ticks per. So after 2 seconds in the trap and being hit by the foam canister, the Moff is dead before even coming out of the trap. So you can just peek around a wall, throw a foam canister, and run away, and you know the Moff is going to die. All right, on to playstyle and positioning. Here's a hidden little gem. Make sure you turn on free look for helm. It's a game changer, and it absolutely changes the level of immersion as helm. It also just makes it a little bit smoother and cleaner. As the helmsman, it is your job to make sure that you are getting your team in proper position for fights. That means you are lining up cannons or getting out of fights and giving callouts to what you need to be able to operate helm. Your crew is basically doing what you're asking as the helmsman. As the helmsman, you're basically taking on the role of captain. So it's your job to be giving callouts. It's your job to be looking for threats and, you know, little points of interest that you want to be hitting. Generally speaking, you need to, beyond just being at the helm, you need to also run back and hit ice. You need to occasionally step off and hit mines and step out and shoot those, or potentially hop on a cannon for a second, or give callouts, or let your team know, hey, I'm going to push in close range, swap the macro to a plasma beam or something like that. Generally, you want to just make sure that you are preparing your crew as best as you can for any fight that you get into. It's your job as the helmsman, and out of all of the roles, if the helmsman makes a mistake for 10 seconds, it can cost you the game in a way that no other role can cost a game. Up next, we got a couple advanced concepts. I think some of these ones are going to mainly fall under the category of movement for helm. Generally speaking, one of the things that really differentiates an average helmsman from a quality helmsman is the understanding of vertical placement, and also being able to toggle shields at the appropriate time to get speed boosts and maneuverability. And so the ships have the most limited maneuverability when it comes to vertical maneuverability. And so a mistake can be made where a ship gets directly underneath you, and it's really hard to counteract that, especially if you are running a slower ship. So making sure that you don't let a ship get above or below you is something really important. Make sure that you are paying attention to your vertical altitude. On top of that, again, also using shield toggling to go faster at certain points when you need to. Another thing that's really important, especially if you're on the scout's fast enough that you can dodge cannon fire from range if you're not fighting a privateer. So kind of just going up and down as they're firing at you, you're going to be able to dodge a lot of shots as you're closing a range and closing gap. So try that out. Beyond that, generally, again, just remember that it is your job to multitask. If you can't step off helm, yell at your crew to do whatever it is that you need done if you can't walk away from helm for a second. But generally try to find moments in fights and in moments of transport to hop off helm and do a couple other things for your team. With 3 new anomalies being released this week, let me know if you guys would like to see individual breakdowns on them and how to best utilize them, and some of the fun ways that we can put these items to use now that we're going to be able to find them out in the reach. I'm sure we can come up with some fun ideas for them, so let me know if you guys would like to see that. Your mission as helmsman is simple: drive, call out, and protect. It's your job to make sure that your team is where they need to be in the positions they need to be in. You need to be giving your team information and passing along what you're seeing to those who might not have as good of eyes on the outside of the ship. Beyond that, again, try to multitask. Your best friend is multitasking as a helmsman. If you just stay on helm at all times, you're neglecting a majority of your job. Obviously, your most important task is flying, but you have other jobs in flying. Don't just stay on the helm at all time. And that, my friends, is the art of helmsman, captain, commander, and keeper of the helm. If you enjoyed the show, toss a like, don't forget to subscribe, join the crew in the comments, and don't miss the next act in our Wildgate 101 series, The Daring and Dangerous Border. Until then, keep your eyes sharp and your helm steady. And as always, see you in the reach. Thanks.